Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, well, welcome back. Thanks for coming. Today is going to be a relatively short video, hopefully, and that's just a quick Avengers check-in. So, I did an Avengers video back in January when the superheroes first came out, when they first gave all the character boards for January, and gave my TBR. The TBR, for the most part, stayed the same, though I was able to use some powers to get rid of some prompts. And I'm mostly caught up. I have completed all the January boards, all the February boards, and I'm working on March. So here, let's take a look. The January boards, the first one we'll talk about was Black Widow. And for Black Widow, I read Moonstone, which was a translated work by Sion, Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, for about an assassin, about female empowerment, with a character who has a secret identity, as well as someone trying to escape their past. For set in Eastern Europe, I read Baron the Nightingale by Catherine Arden, I think. For a black cover, I read the graphic novel On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. And then for Has a Redemption arc, I used one of the boss battles to complete that prompt. Red Skull, to be specific. Done. For Captain America, I read Red Rising by Pierce Brown for a book about an underdog, as well as a book that explores the theme of sacrifice, and a book about a character thrust into leadership. I read, just this month, When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore, and that was for a book with stars on the cover. For a book about strong friendships, I ended up using Explorers on Witch Mountain by I'm drawing a blank. I read that for a Pullathon, but I'll pop it up on screen once I remember. For a book that takes place in New York, Washington, and Germany, I used February's group book Slay. For read a nonfiction about an historically relevant era, I used Warmth of Other Suns, which is a book about the Great Migration. And for read a book set in the 20th century, I also knocked that prompt out with the Red Skull boss battle. For Nick Fury, I read The Once and Future Queen for an unlikely team, Get a Life, Chloe Brown for a visually impaired character and BIPOC author and cat on the cover. Once in the Future Queen also covered a mysterious character. I read the book Mothmen, or short story Mothmen by Kaylin Ryriel for an adult book, very adult. And then I used another boss battle, Battle Vinko, I think is what it was called, for spy novel and older protagonist, because The Beloved by Toni Morrison was taking me forever. For Hawkeye, I read The Interrogation of a Shallow Wolf for a book about platonic friendship as well as found family. I read the book Hunted for Arrow on the cover, as well as a book about revenge. I read the book Soundless by Rochelle Mead for a character who is deaf or hard of hearing. For a purple book, I read The Stars and the Blackness Between Them. And for a comic, I read Smile by Raina Telgemeier, and used Red Skull Battle a third time to knock off an underhyped or forgotten book. For Hulk, I read The Switch. I'm really bad with author names, I'm sorry. They'll all be on screen. For green on the cover, I read Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty for a big book and about transformation. I read Crooked Kingdom for about an insecure character as well as an expert genius. It's in His Kiss, which was one of the Bridgerton books by Julia Quinn, for a comfort book. The Girl with the Clockwork Collar for exploring friendship and science. And I used Black Widow's Power to knock off Will Make You Angry. For Thor, I read In an Absent Dream by Seanan McGuire for Set in Another World. Storm of Locusts by Rebecca Roanhorse for mythology, siblings, and character trying to prove themselves. Yeah. How to Catch a Queen by Alyssa Cole. Yeah. For nobility or royalty, I read Wicked Deep for Set in a Small Town. The Astonishing Color of After for discusses depression. Sky in the Deep for about Vikings. The last January board was Iron Man, and for this I read Star Daughter, about a paternal father figure, and metallic or gold on the cover. I used the February group book Slay for character and STEM, as well as focuses on invention. For the Will You Help You Grow or Accomplish a Personal Goal, I read Don't Overthink It, which was a nonfiction, kind of like self-help book by somebody, Anne Bogle, maybe. A Girl Like Her by Talia Hibbert for a character who has PTSD. And Reverie for I think that was by Ryan LaSala, for a resourceful character, as well as features survival. I used about half of the powers for that group, but I've saved some of them. February, we got 3 more prompts. We've got Falcon, Shuri, and War Machine or Rhodey. For Falcon, I used Hulk's Power, Hulk Smash, to knock off the top 3 prompts of Bird on the Cover, Advocate Mental Health, and a Hate to Love Relationship. The group book Slay, covered by a Black author and about a reluctant leader. I read The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden for a sequel. And then I finished Rhodey first, technically, and used Rhodey's Power to steal a book from his board, Shadow Scale by Rachel Hartman, for a character that can fly and a character that likes music. Rhodey, I guess might as well do him, we talked about him. Shadow Scale has had a cover change. And then I also read Snow Like Ashes. I don't remember who wrote that. Focuses on loyalty and gray or metallic on cover, as well as discusses military elements. I read Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor for a sci-fi book. The group book Slay was used for strong friendship and a Black protagonist. And another boss battle, Stain, I think. I feel like that's wrong. I don't think it's what his name was. Level 1, I knocked off a character that uses a mobility aid. Shuri, the last board for February. I used the group book Slay for almost all the prompts. I crossed them all off. Innovation or creativity, Black joy, intersectional feminism, face on the cover, and women in STEM. I read Who Fears Death by Nadia Okorafor. Right? That's who wrote that. Yes. For Set in Africa. The Polar Bears Explorer Club, the first book in that series, for about a princess and a character who lost a sibling. Which brings us up to March. And March had 3 boards. Again, Spiderman, Lady Sif, and then a combo Rocket Groot board. I am working my way through this still. For Rocket and Groot, I used March's group book Sanctuary by... Oh, I returned it already. Set in space, features prison, has an escape plan. And then I read Love from A to Z by S.K. Ali for Makes You Feel the Way Baby Groot Makes You Feel. Just goes, aww. I read Root Magic by Royce. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. Tree on the cover and Mammal on the cover. I am currently reading The Way of Kings. I'm over halfway done. I'll finish it by the end of the month, and that will cover about growth and a character with chaotic good energy. So I'll have finished this board by the end of the March. Lady Sif. Hopefully. We'll see. Sanctuary, the group book, covered Kick-Ass Team, Female Soldier, Destruction on the cover, Complicated Family, and a character with conflicted loyalties. I read Long Division by Keith Lehman for a outspoken main character. I read House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune for a side character that steals the show. The only one left on this board is a book that doesn't get enough credit. And I have a tendency to read well-known books, so hopefully I can find a fantastic indie or something. Otherwise I'll use the power to knock it off. The last board for March, Spider-Man, will not get finished this month. I don't even know if it'll get finished in April because I realized a couple of these books are not on that TBR either. Oops. Sanctuary, the group book, worked for a YA novel, a character with superpowers, red or blue on the cover, and teenage friend group. I'm currently reading, about halfway done, with Lagoon by... Is that Nadia Okorafor again? It is. For Set in the Big City. I haven't started it yet, but I have it to read the first book in the Nevermore series, for a mentor-mentee relationship. I have marked down what I plan on reading, and we'll see if it stays that way. But I plan on reading Queenie for a character that lives with extended family, unless I randomly end up reading a book before then. And for Set in High School, Felix Ever After. Like I said, I don't have plans for April to read either of those 2 books, because I forgot. But we'll see. Maybe I can sneak them in. We did get the April boards a couple of weeks ago. There are only 2 for April. Thank goodness. Scarlet Witch and Bucky. And I think I have a TBR, a book for all of those prompts, and all of those books are on my April TBR, so cross your fingers. But the group book for the month of April is Once and Future Witches. I forget who wrote it. Once again. Oh, Alex E. Harrow. I remember. And on Scarlet Witch, that one includes a family history, superpowered siblings, has a witch, and red on the cover. For a female with a dramatic arc and a good romance arc, I am going to be reading the newest Christine Feehan book that just came out this month, and that's Lightning Game. So excited. So excited. And then my nonfic, I always read one nonfiction book a month. I forget what that book is for April. I already picked it with my game. Carrie, a memoir about survival on a stolen land, I think is the full title, by Toni Jensen, and that's an indigenous book. But that one I will be reading for Expands Your Mind and experiment with a genre you don't read often, because I read it once a month, so it's not like it's a super often read. For Bucky, Once and Future Witches includes a near-death experience set in the past and a character that is manipulated. For bisexual main character, I'm reading this polyamorous rep romance called From Scratch by Katrina Jackson. For Grumpy Sunshine Friendship, I'm going to give the In Death series by Nora Roberts a try and read the first one, Naked in Death. I love all of Roberts' trilogies and romance series, but I've never gone into her In Death series before because it seemed like it was more heavy on like the thriller mystery aspect than the romance. But I want to spread my horizons, so I'm gonna try it. I'm reading Wind Witch for the Witchlands along with Jade, and that one covers hands or arms on the cover. I am reading an indie book on Luna Time by Amber Crawley for multiple timelines. If I get lucky, maybe that will also work for a book that doesn't get enough credit for Lady Sif. We'll see. And then about a character that experiences memory loss. Nothing on my April TBR involves memory loss, so I do have another boss battle reward that I haven't used yet, the Stain battle, and so I can use the level 2 reward and grab a book from, I think it's like Iron Man's board, and so I could grab Reverie because that did include memory loss. And that brings me up to date. Whew, that was a lot in a row. I apologize. Up to date with what I read, what I haven't, and next Avengers update, I won't have to talk about January or February, so yay, because I finished those. And I'll just be able to tell you that I did finish March boards like I said I was gonna. Thank you for sticking around and watching this. If you're also participating in Avengers, let me know how you're doing, how many boards have you gotten, and if any of the upcoming books for April are books that you're reading too. That would be awesome to chat about that. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.